Michael, another day, another Ubisoft story.
What? Really?
I know, you're
What have they done recently? Is there something we should know?
Ubisoft acknowledges recent buyout reports. Tom Henderson over at Insider Gaming. Ubisoft has acknowledged the recent buyout reports, saying it, quote, regularly reviews options, end quote. Last week, a new report from Bloomberg revealed that Guillemot family is considering a buyout from Tencent. The news came following the company's stocks falling to an 11-year low, as games like Star Wars Outlaws have struggled to meet company's expectations. And its biggest launch of the year, Assassin's Creed Shadows, has been delayed to 2025. Yeah. In a statement shared with Eurogamer, Ubisoft said, quote, Ubisoft has noted recent press speculations regarding potential interests around the company. It regularly reviews all the strategic options in the interest of its stakeholders and will inform the market if and when appropriate. End quote. Welcome to the PR world. The statement continues, quote, the company reiterates that management is currently focused on executing a strategy centered on two core verticals, open world adventures and games as a service. It's not working out for them, I'll tell you that much. Last week's Ubisoft stocks increased by over 30% due to recent rumors of the potential buyout. As for if the buyout happens and whether it will improve Ubisoft's standings in the games industry remains to be seen. But developers who spoke to Insider Gaming are understandingly nervous about the future. No kidding. If I'm at Ubisoft right now, I'm terrified of what's going on. I don't think there's any security there right now at all. I think everybody's a little up in the air, very, very nervous as to what happens next, right? We saw, well, yesterday we talked about Skull and Bones costing almost $800 million for a quadruple game that tanked, right? That's what, dude, I said they're going to drop in February, get it out of the way, and then let Star Wars Outlaws take the reins and boost them back up. Unfortunately, Star Wars Outlaws didn't hit the mark. So there's another one that drops it down again, right? Apparently, all the blame is not Star Wars. It's more or less on Skull and Bones, which is still going. So granted, I think people are still enjoying that game. I had a decent time in that world for a while, but I was also there hanging out with my brother. It makes it much different than trying to go in there solo. Like, I know Scott tried to go up there solo. He's like, I ain't getting this. But right now, dude, they got a Year of the Dragon. I'm like this close to jumping back in because I want to see that monster and see how cool it is, or if it's not, right? One of those situations. But at the same time, there's so many other things to play. I think that's what it really comes down to. So when you fail Skull and Bones, you fail Star Wars Outlaws, and then you bump Assassin's Creed Shadows, dude, that's not looking good for your year.
No, not a good year for Ubisoft. I mean, we talked about it going into November. Now it's going into February. You think maybe even later than February. All eyes are on Assassin's Creed Shadow, right? If this tanks, I think a buyout is imminent. I think the real interesting thing, right, is right now the rumors are Tencent, which is already a major company. We saw what happened when Microsoft wanted to buy Activision and all the drama and the lawsuits that went around that. I'm curious if we'll have similar outcomes to Tencent taking over Ubisoft if this happens, because we're getting to this point where it's going to be like 2 or 3 major companies that are producing 90% of the games, right? Tencent already has a stake in stuff like League of Legends with Riot Games, which is Valorant, and a ton of other games. Now that they take over Ubisoft, then you have Microsoft basically doing all Activision and Blizzard. We're starting to get into this 3-company monopoly. They'll have a little bit, we'll have an outlier here, an outlier there. But I'll be really curious how this is handled compared to the Blizzard one, right? Or the Activision one, where delayed, lawsuit, monopoly claims. Right now, it's like, yeah, Tencent might buy Ubisoft. Everyone's like, yes, please do, because everyone hates Ubisoft and how they've done. But it's like, this is the same issues we had with Microsoft. Like, are we going to be concerned? I'll keep my eye on it, but I think my prediction here, Drew, is within a month of Shadows, unless it dominates, which I don't think you and I believe it's going to dominate like it will, I think we get a buyout from somebody.
Which is unfortunate, right? Because like you say, all of a sudden we get in this monopolized market that where we're going to. You figure if they get bought up by Tencent, right? Tencent owns this company, that company, this company, that, and then has like shares in everybody, which is just ridiculous. And then who's that leave? You have Square Enix. You have EA, which everybody loves to hate as well, right? Okay, and then you have Take-Two. So, and Take-Two owns, like, they own Rockstar, right? They own Gearbox. They own. And then you have Warner Brothers. I wouldn't count on Warner Brothers because even Warner Brothers is looking at selling off half of their game side. So, like, where does this leave us? It leaves us with indies. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think that's an excellent thing. It's the saving grace of our industry, right? Because when you get a big game like Star Wars Outlaws that tanks, dude, there's a dozen indie games right there looking and fighting for your attention that's probably better than that game anyways. That's the other side of it, right? Now, granted, I'm a big AAA snob. Like, I love my AAA games, and I love to go for those, and I like to invest in these games. But when you take a look at the top dogs, so you have Sony, you have you have Xbox, and you have Nintendo, and then you have these other select few that people don't even like to play, right? They don't like Ubisoft, they don't like EA, as I said already. So it's one of those things. How much is left? But then we talk about it every time. Dude, another studio just came out. Another studio just came out. Another studio just came out. We got to hang out with Jeff over at Yellowbird Games and talk with him about his game. Small studio, right? There's like 70 of them over there. So it's these little pockets that we need to keep viable because everybody else is getting eaten up from the bigger standpoint. So we keep Jeff and his team going. Dude, I'd much rather do that.